10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is this time, the first episode of 2022. It is the Power Hour, and I am Slam and Sam. I am one of your hosts. Man, first off, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, but welcome to 22, the Double Deuce. Alongside of me is my co-host that's going to be riding in the passenger seat all night tonight. We're going to be grooving, styling, and profiling. He's a man with the shades. He's a man with the plan. That is the Monday Morning Racer. What's up, man?
Man, I'm doing great. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a great New Year. And to each and every one of you out there, I hope that is the case as well. I had a great Christmas and New Year. Got to spend time with the folks. Mom's birthday is on the 28th. Got to celebrate the birthday a little bit. And then I took a trip down to Florida. And
hey, whoa, don't skip over that. I had a birthday too. I had a birthday.
You're the 29th, right?
I'm the 30th, man. The 30th. Come on.
30th. Well, happy birthday, Sam. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
You are that much older.
Hey, no, like I said, no need to thank me now. That was last year. That was so last year. That's my joke with everyone. Everyone's like, "Oh, happy belated birthday." I'm like, dude, that was so last year.
So last year.
Hey, that's right, Drag Racing Central. You guys better get your popcorn because you don't know what we got popping tonight.
That's right.
Man.
Right. Look, went down to Florida. Man. Ryan Ayler knocked it out of the park. Had the grand opening for Tampa Bay Race Rentals. It was Pro versus Joe Costello. I won't spill the beans on who did or did not win. You can go check that out. And I got footage too. You can see it later.
Can I tell? Racer. Since you don't want to tell, can I tell?
Okay, you go ahead.
Joe lost.
He did.
Got you, Joe.
It didn't even go to the third lap of the best 2 out of 3. Ryan got him. Boom, boom.
So a motorcycle driver beat a guy that's got some cars that I don't, just saying.
Look, I will say this: Ryan had plenty more laps in those cars. I'll say that. And Joe did keep it really close. They were some of the best 2 laps side by side of the whole 32-car shootout and everything that went down. It was pretty cool. And then later on that night, after I filmed the first 32, guess what, Sam? I got in the cars and was able to take these Mustangs down the track in competition in a 32-person shootout, and had not done that since the junior dragster days. So it was good to stage one up and mash the throttle and take it down the drag strip.
Hey, man, the last time I went racing, we all know what happened to me.
Yep.
So I'm glad that you're in one piece, Lee. I'm glad that you're doing good, and but man, that's what it's all about, right? The new experience, giving people an experience, like you and I talked about. For if you want to get into racing, I think that's a great thing that he's doing. He's bringing more fans to the sport, and what I would really like to see, and I know it's kind of a far fetch, but if there was a way for us to do that with motorcycles too, especially for Ryan Ayler, someone who is a motorcycle driver, and just to shed some more light on that class. I would like to, branch out and see what we could do for that motorcycle class, for the bike class. But, at the end of the day, no matter what you're doing, as long as you're talking about the sport, as long as you're bringing something added to the sport, a new experience for new fans and a new experience for seasoned fans, right? And that's what it's all about. I mean, that's just like this show, right? I mean, we're giving people a different experience of drag racing, of motorsports in general. I always, tip my cap to anyone that's willing to try. And I think he's going to have a good thing, especially down there in Florida.
Right. Oh, it's Showtime Drag Strip and Speedway. It's a joint multi-purpose facility with 2 different racing venues and a little hidden gem. Like, you can't even see the drag strip. You don't even know where this thing is. You're like, you're driving around in this industrial park, and it's like, where is this drag strip? And you drive under an overpass, and boom, there's the drag strip with the Speedway. So I don't think they have to worry about being encroached on anytime soon. The public works have gone as far as they can. But neat little drag strip, neat little speedway, and a very easy setup to be introduced to drag racing, whether it's a corporate event, whether it's for birthdays, or you want to do a shootout like this at your own track, maybe, and bring these guys in. They're 2020 GT Mustangs, 5.0s in them. They put on some Mickey Thompson drag radials. Shout out to Mickey Thompson. They became a sponsor with them, and you pretty much you put it in sport mode, traction control off, do the burnout, traction control on, stage it up, boom, and hit it. So it was very simple. I would like to see something though with the bikes, but man, Sam, you know that's a whole nother level. I will say, I have never been on a track because they don't bother to do this with junior dragsters, but I felt the traction compound like resisting against the car for the first time ever. Very interesting how that feels. I felt it with my shoes, but feeling it with a car, fascinating. I've been on ice before, and I've been like good traction, and then to feel like, oh man, I'm planted. Completely different feeling. Oh, take a drink.
For me,
take a drink. No, you're not.
No, wait. Hey, that's fine. I'm actually thirsty, so I got to stay hydrated after my current events of today. But it's been 4 seasons since I've been in my race car. I've got a race car sitting in the garage, it's tore apart, and I keep telling myself every year I'm going to put it together, but with time, trials, and tribulations of life, things happen. But I think it's sooner than later we will see that thing put back together. But there is something different about feeling that underneath you. You know, walking on the track like you and I do quite often when we're doing videos and different things like that, it's weird, right? Because okay, I'm about to walk on this. I got to, pick up my feet or walk a little lighter. But then when you're in that car, especially with those drag radios, a lot of people that don't know, I've raced radio racing and slick racing. I can honestly say prepping a track for a radio is completely different than what we're used to and what a lot of people, don't understand. That's why you see a lot of these guys going radio racing, aka Donald Long's big events with a lot of Trek prep. That's what it takes. There's a lot of traction down there. Lee, people are asking, they want videos of you actually racing. So if you have those, you got to get out the blooper reel.
I don't have any. All that there is a photo of me in the car, but Ryan Ayler and many others can attest. Yes, I did drag race. So, looking forward to I'm looking forward to doing it again, man. I plan on going back next year, doing it again, enjoying myself. That part of Florida, Clearwater, what a great part, vacation at. But let me give a shout out here. Ryan Elliott, car chief to Cruise Petragon Cruise Petragon's funny car. Shout out to him. He used social media the way in which it's supposed to be used. And no, that is not ridiculing people or cutting people down or spatting misinformation. No. It's social media is about being social. Well, I put a post that I was in Clearwater, Florida. He noticed. He's like, hey, man, I'm 40 minutes south of you in St. Pete. Come on down and I'll buy you a beverage and we'll just hang out. And did exactly that. So thank you to Ryan Elliott and his wife. Great afternoon there on the beach at St. Petersburg. Did fix me that beverage, and he also bought me supper that night. And they were definitely very hospitable to me and made the Florida trip that much better. So Ryan, shout out to you. Thanks, man. And the drag racing family, just being family. It was cool to see, cool to experience.
We got to answer this question, Lee. Do we have any more silly season news that we really, really need to talk about?
Well, we will have an individual on later tonight. I'll bring it up. This image right here with Tommy DeLago. We're going to have him on later, and that's a part of the silly season news for sure. But
I don't really think that was silly season though, well, maybe it was. But if you're a fan viewer of this show, We kind of talked about it earlier this season.
So,
Let's say
right,
around the
something
Vegas.
we knew something was going to happen. It was going to come along.
Yeah.
I would say right now though, most of the major news was announced at PRI. I'm not expecting anything big to come down the pipe. I mean, maybe we'll get information on that second car with Caruso Motorsports. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that will come on down the line. But it is silly season, and we call it that because, well, it's silly. So there's no telling what might still come out before we get to Pomona or before we get elsewhere. Apparently, what I hear from the limo guy at large, shout out to him. He does a lot of great work with the Mountain Motor Pro Stock guys with Real Pro Stock. There are some shakeups happening in that big cubic inch naturally aspirated world that we need to be keeping our eyes peeled for. So I'm expecting big news from that side of the world. But I think one that might have got overlooked is Wes DiStefano, a man and a team in Shameless Racing that has been tearing up Outlaw Pro 632. He is expected to be in Pro Nitrous in PDRA competition in 2022.
Pro nitrous?
Nitrous, yes, Pro Nitrous.
When you refer to PDRA racing, is professional nitrous.
Right.
We had this conversation
nitrous.
in Virginia. Professional.
Debbie, we love you. Shout out to you.
Yes. Lee, everybody's saying they're missing the blue headphones, man. Like you switched it up on us already. A lot of changes, man.
I did, and the reason I did is they are coming undone. They're breaking down literally, and it was time to move on. That means I've done that many shows. My headphones are breaking, and I had to get new ones.
Send them back into Dr. Dre and say, "Hey, man, get these beats fixed."
There you go. Get them fixed.
I'm going to talk about this Drag Racing Central Ask, and I know he's on top of things and what he's talking about. Putting the maybe in front of that word is very vague, and you know what I mean, Drag Racing Central. There's been talk of it. There's, John Force is not being quiet about looking for sponsorships for him and looking for ways to get him back in a car. I mean, that is nothing that is hidden. So, I mean, I think if the funds come available and they find the right opportunity, I think, yes, you're going to see him in a car. I mean, he tested a lot last year, and I think if the opportunity comes available for John to find the right resources to put him in the car, I think John's going to do that at this point.
He is, and we've even had John on this very show saying we intend to put him back in a car and expand John Force Racing. I expect that to happen. And if you look at my testing footage from the week of the Texas Stampede before the Fall Nationals, it wasn't John in his car. It was Proc in John's car.
But a lot of people didn't realize that, but he would test the car, get on the golf cart,
come back,
or in John's world, the scooter, and then help and do his job while still in his fire suit.
Yes.
Like, I mean, if that's not dedication to say, you know what, hey, I'm thankful for this opportunity.
Right. And Sam, for everybody else that's out there, don't forget, it's not like Proc isn't on the scene. He is the blower guy. He works on the blowers. Yeah. He's there every weekend. He's on the team. He's on the crew. He may not be behind the wheel, but it's not like they kick the kid to the curb. I think that is something that people had in their mind. Oh, you're not driving. You're not part of the team. That's not the case. He is out there. Hey, Rob, I love what Rob says here. Happy New Year. And he puts in quotations, broadcasters. Yes, we are the farthest since from broadcasters.
We may be casting, but that's about it.
Maybe.
Hey, you know what? Since we're talking about this and silly season news and everything, you had him on your show. I got to hang out with him a little bit down at PRI. Travis Shoemake.
Yes.
A lot of people are talking about silly season news. I think I'm going to put this on the radar, and I'm putting this out to the atmosphere right now. Watch out for that young. I don't even want to call him young man because you think he's older than me, but watch out for him.
Yes.
there's been articles, things have been talking. You can allude to it too, Lee. But I think he's one of those people that we need to really keep on the radar for the 2022 season. I mean, I think he's as long as everything continues to work out. I know, the crash and everyone's got something to say, but
right.
He's one of those people that I'm like, okay, I'm in your corner.
Yes, I like Travis. I think Travis has got a bright future ahead of him, and the reason for that is because he's driven. He is driven. He is driven to experience and do something that he has done, that his dad did. It's part of that journey, and he's going to get it done. It's going to happen. I think he will be successful. And I look, if you want to know, I'm not trying to be biased because I did it on my show Between the Slicks, but I really think if you want to get the tail from the horse's mouth, as it were, you got to go to my Between the Slicks episode with Travis. Very honest, very transparent, very vulnerable, excuse me, episode, and laid a lot out of why he's doing what he's doing, and the crash, and what happened, and what he expected, and how he might change things in the future. And he realizes that, hey, there might be a better way of going about this. But yes, keep your eye on Travis for sure. I like what Drag Racing Central said. I agree. He does bring big eyes to our sport. I've talked to him a little bit about potential partners he may be bringing, and it's exciting. And more partners that come to the sport, the better.
And and along that lines, people are going to say what they want to say. Hate if you want to. I'm going to leave it there. Hate if you want to. Like, I mean, hate if you want to. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, man, Lee. I mean, question for you. I mean, we're dived into 2022 now. People are asking, is it time for the Winter Nationals? What are you most excited about? I mean, first question is, what are you most excited about for the 2022 race season?
All right. Well, first, let me say, Mike Hall, I agree with you. Keep your eye on Trip Tatum. And Sam, I'll tell you what, let's do this. We need to get some more likes, and we need to get some more shares. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take Sam's question. I will answer it right after the break. What are you most looking forward to in drag racing this year? Put that in the comment section. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. And also, we want to thank our sponsors, Weldon Pumps, right now, and bring up their commercial. When we come back, we'll be talking about what we're looking forward in 2022. All right, Sam. First and foremost, for me.
Wait! Before you do that, what's up, Mike Ashley?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Sorry. Had to say what's up to the homeboy. All right, now. Definitely. Wait. One more time. Is this rumor true, Lee? You have the insight. Tell us the juicy information.
I have not been given any other information beyond what was said.
Look at those rosy cheeks.
No more information.
Look at those rosy. Oh, come on, Lee. Spill B.
I have been given no more information than what was said at PRI.
All in favor that he's lying, right in the comments.
Right. Very funny. So,
yes.
Sam, up first, 2022.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
I am most excited for not just me personally, but Funny Car Chaos. I love what Chris Graves is doing. They're going to do the Funny Car Classic at the Motorplex even bigger. Funny Car Chaos is going to where the Cajun Nationals used to race. State Capital Raceway. They're bringing Nitro back there, and they're going to Cordova as a part, as an exhibition there where the World Series of drag racing happens. They're in Illinois. What Chris Graves is doing with Funny Car Chaos, I think, is everything that drag racing fans, in fact, want. The only downside, if you count it as a downside, is all the people who say, oh, it's only 8th mile. That's it, though. That's all you can say, because you've got the cars, you got the stars, you got nitro, you got alcohol, you got heads up, you got run what you brung, and a great crowd of racers in that program. And not to mention the Nitro Chaos races, which there's 2 of this year. Where else are you going to see Top Fuel, Funny Car of all its varieties, and fuel altered, and even front engine dragsters going head to head? Yeah, I love it. I love chaos.
You said
chaos.
Lee, you said all that, but does it have a lot of this?
There is more money, from what I understand. Oh yeah.
All right. I'm just making, because you made a bold comment last year, to Mr. West Buck. So I'm just making sure you're keeping, hold your side of the bargain.
I'll say this, Chris, with that kickoff to the season, they're building a whole lot of prestige, even though there may not necessarily be as much of a payout.
All right. As long as the prestige.
What's one of your top ones?
Top ones, I'm looking to really, one of the ones that I'm looking forward to, and I don't think it's really my top, but I'm just looking forward to it, is to see what Tony Stewart, Leah Stewart, and God, now I got all my names, and Matt Hagan all bring to the table this year, just because, like you said, we're trying to invert new partners, and we want to see a new dynamic in the sport. So just to kind of see there, just to kind of go down the list, we're going to talk about it here tonight. So I'm very excited about what the Ashley team is doing moving forward. Somebody's talking about the Bubba Wallace reference. But, and then I guess those are my like 2 biggest things right there, that right off of the top of my head, I'm going to say. And I'm really just excited to see, are we going to see some of those partners from the dirt world? Are we going to see more, people that were involved in dirt track racing and that had their hand in some of the things that Tony Stewart were doing years prior? I want to see if he can convert them into drag racing, or at least bring them to the track, so it does show a new face of drag racing. So that's going to be
interesting.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be a shakeup.
It's going to be a shakeup. And I don't expect Leah Stewart and Matt Hagan to come out and, win the Winter Nationals. That team is new. And even though it's the same people and they're bringing it together, all of that is going to be something that you've got to let people gel, and you got to let the team work it out. Will they be competitive? Certainly, they're going to be competitive in 2022. But I'm not going to be shocked if you're going to see little minor details missed first couple of races that they work out.
Well, will they? I mean, they've posted some videos. Tony is very, very on top of things. Tony, like, from what we know of Tony Stewart racing, period, the minor details, I think, with him are going to be the things that are checked. I think there's just going to be the new team struggles. You know what I mean? Like, everyone kind of getting back together. I think the minor details, I think it's going to be one of those with Tony Stewart. Those trucks and trailers are going to be from head to toe. Everything's going to be accounted for. Every nut and bolt and extra engine and everything is going to be there. I don't think we have to worry about that. I just think there's going to be the minor details of, all right, we probably put a hole out, we probably put too much here. We did too, not enough there. I think it's going to be those things versus little minor details of missing something. Hey, who forgot to put the spark plug? Different things like that. And I think Drag Race and Centro says it too. Stewart also is going to show how to get big names in marketing. I think his marketing tactic is very, very different compared to what we're used to, you know. So I think that that's going to be different. But to answer this question first, because everyone keeps talking about this Bubba Wallace thing, this is where this started. Okay, Drag Racing Central made the comment, "We in drag racing need our Bubba Wallace," and that was referring to the Travis comp when we were talking about Travis. And I said, "This is me. No, we do not need a Bubba Wallace in drag racing. We are bigger than that because of all the negative connotation. Travis is not bringing anything negative into the sport. So comparing him to Bubba Wallace, I do not agree. We in drag racing have embraced everyone that is involved in drag racing. We are a community and a culture that love everyone. So we don't need to sideline one person because of different choices or anything. We can find different ways to advertise and market to people instead of bringing negative towards drag racing."
On 2022, and what else I'm looking for, we are later on. We're going to have an individual.
Love you, Lee.
Yeah, later on we're going to have an individual, definitely in the funny car world. I'm looking forward to NHRA Nitro Funny Car. We had such a great competitive year in 2021, and yet going into it, there's so much that's being shook up with the move with Matt Hagan. You have Ron Capps Motorsports created, and we had such a competitive season. I feel like we're poised to have it ramp up again in Funny Car and it be just as competitive and the storylines be just as insane as it was in 2021, if not more.
I think a lot of things are going to ramp up. You're starting to see more out of these teams, right? I mean, AB's posting some different things that he's doing. He came out today with his new fire suit. I'm kind of waiting to see what Ron's going to do. Since I think I pulled the strings a little bit to get some information, and I think I can openly say that now. If you go back and listen to that last Ron Capps interview we had with him right there before PRI, I think, Lee, I asked the question of the race suit, and he kind of was like, well, now that I have a little bit more choice of things, and I was like, right. Boom, got my information that I needed.
Right.
Asking those detailed questions. But, I think we're going to see, like with Ron, you're going to have that same structure. Ron's, a clear-cut kind of guy. So I think you're going to have that same structure. You're going to know what's going to happen. But you see out of his social media, he's fun, he's giddy, he's witty with what he's doing. He knows how to interact with the people. And so I think you're going to see some fun things out of those two teams. I mean, you're going to see people let loose and be who they are, they're in charge of their own destinies. So I'm excited to see 2022. I mean, funny season to me is over. It's over. We know what's going on.
So I'm going to throw it out here right now. 2022 NHRA Funny Car Champion is Cruz Petragon.
Hard no.
Yes.
Hard no. Hard no.
Sue and Pickin.
No. I'm going.
Oh, you going to pick the top 5 now? Since you
no. I'm gonna no. I'm gonna pick a winner right here. Funny Car. I gotta think about this because you're saying Cruz.
Well, while you're thinking, Scott, I think it will still be a Dodge. Ron Capps in a Dodge still.
2020 Funny Car Champion. Right now, pick one right now. Ooh, you're making my head hurt thinking about it.
Drag Racing Central says Alexis DeJoria. They were hot at the end of the year.
That's a good choice. That's a really, really good choice.
And
Lee, that's in my top 4.
That's your top 4.
Alexis is in my top 4.
Wow, yeah.
Cruz,
here we go.
I hate to say it. And it's not even that I hate to say it. I think it's going to be. I honestly think 2022 is going to be your last season for John Force. I think John gets it.
All right, John gets it. Okay.
I think John gets it. Here, I'm going to give it to you. Here's the breakdown. John gets it. Alexis gets runner-up. John gets it. Alexis gets runner-up. Height gets number 3. No. How could I even do this to myself? I lie. I retract my statement. Here it goes. Yes. J.R. Todd. J.R. Todd wins it. John gets second. Alexis gets third. Robert gets fourth. Yeah, there you go.
No.
I'm writing this down right now.
No.
J.R. Todd, John, Alexis, Robert. That's my top 4 right there. Boom.
All right.
JR wins it.
All right. First episode of the year. We know our funny car picks.
We might as well just go down the slate right now.
Well, let's do it later because we got to bring our first guest on. He's in the green room. He's ready to go. So let's get him on. Let's talk some Great Lakes nostalgia funny car action.
Caps does run out my top 5.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
There it is.
Okay.
Bet you my top 5 looks better than your top 5 at the end of the year.
I bet it doesn't. Because who picked the champions correctly last year?
I did.
Whatever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. And in taking a break, we're going to be welcoming in a new sponsor to the Competition Plus Power Hour. And then after the break, we're going to have our first guest on, Dennis, with the Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car Series. They got some great things going on. Be sure, if we take that break, hit the like button, hit the share button, and feel free to comment and join in on the show.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Well, we show Retro Bright, and now we'll have Dennis, once he's back in his chair there, some retro things with the Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car Series. Dennis, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm doing real great. Thanks for having me on tonight. I sure appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Good to have you on. And look, I know we're going to dive into funny car stuff. I know we're going to talk all that, and funny cars are great. But I've got to ask, because you must be a bit of a showman like me, and it's a little fuzzy right now, but you're wearing like a buffalo head in this photo. Like, what is going on, man? What is going on?
That is just like the Fred Flintstone water buffalo hat. Actually, after we were together for a couple of years, the group, we typically have a year-end meeting, and we had a couple of members. Two members actually coerced another member to bring a box up to me, and inside that box was that hat, and actually that we call that the Grand Poobah hat. And so typically I bring that out for our yearly Funny Car Nationals, and then for the year-end meeting. But yep, that's every once in a while you see me running around the pits, I might have that on.
That's very Grand Poobah-ish there, Sam.
Where does one find a hat like that?
Yeah,
actually the original one kind of wore out and needed replaced, and I replaced that one from Amazon. Found it on Amazon.
I think I'm going to be scrolling through Amazon later tonight.
I hear you. Yes.
Need to write that down in the good old notes. Next time I go to the track, I need one of these. Okay.
It definitely grabs attention.
Oh, yeah. I don't think Lee wanted to ask this question, but I'm going to ask. How do you pronounce your last name?
Exactly
so
like
we don't get
spelled.
It wrong.
It's Salzwimmer.
Salzwimmer.
Good Polish name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were close, Sam.
Hey, I gave it an honest try.
Well, I can tell you, I'm 62 and I've heard it spelled or pronounced a whole lot of ways. So it doesn't even bother me anymore.
Yeah, we got to start telling Elon Werner, who we'll have on later the show, and be chatting with him. Like, Elon, look, you got to send us phonetics at sometimes.
Well, we actually have a member, John Sergio, and he will tell you if you pronounce his name wrong. He drives the Warpath, beautiful Warpath car, and it's funny because it's a short name, but you have to pronounce it right.
Well, Dennis, talk to us about Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car Series for anyone that might not have heard about it. What region does it encompass? Because when I think of Great Lakes, for example, I lived outside of Rochester, New York for a while. Well, we're on Lake Ontario, but I mean, it's much bigger region than I think people realize and what it can encompass. So give us the breakdown of what the series is.
Basically, we are a match race circuit. We've been around since 2008, and what we do is basically get booked into various tracks throughout the year to put on a show, whether it's matched up with a nostalgia event, a Night of Fire type event, or any type of entertaining event like that. We typically will have anywhere from a 2 to 8 car show. And again, these cars are reminiscence of just the way the funny cars were back in the 70s and 80s when they were the king of the drag strip. You could go to any drag strips at that time, and they would have a funny car race on a Saturday and somewhere else on a Wednesday. They were all over the place, and these funny car drivers were actually the old barnstorming circus type people back then, and it was quite a lifestyle for them. And most of us have kind of grown up with that in our past, and just the passion, and been bit by the funny car bug at some point in time. And it's just one of those things you can't quite explain, but they're really cool with the flip top body and all of that. When you see, I understand that one of you gentlemen went to the chaos down there at the Motorplex, and when you see 5, 10, 20, 40 funny cars standing in a row with the bodies up, there's just something about them. And I think anybody that had an opportunity to see them in their heyday would definitely say that. And so what we try to do is we kind of try to duplicate what they did back then. Where again, most of our bodies are 1980 or older. We do try to keep it period correct. Of course, the motors are a little different, and of course, we need to have all the current safety items on the cars. But again, when bodies are lowered, we really want it to look like they did back in the 70s and 80s, low and really cool looking, neat names with character and things like that, instead of the big corporate sponsors that these cars have today. We have the cool names like the Warpath or the Solid Rock or the Total Insanity and things like that, and Generation X. And again, it has a personality, and that's what the spectators connect with.
And like you said, we got a comment here. Dennis has done an amazing job with the GLNFCC since the beginning, and that speaks, a lot. If people can appreciate what you guys are doing and what you're bringing in, especially bringing that old school feel, I think, for Lee and I, like, that's what we were raised on, right? Is that kind of that old school feel of drag race, and then still to have it around here today and be able to, let people show what they like. It's cool to see the modern day Fox body running down the road or the new Edge Mustang going, but to see these older style cars still out and people still having fun, and just being able to match race like what they used to do back in the day. That's what it's all about.
Well, absolutely. And as I said something earlier, we have a yearly, once a year, Funny Car Nationals. It's our big open event that anybody can come to. You don't have to be a member. And the last 3 years, it has been at Keystone Raceway Park in New Alexandria, Pennsylvania. And we've had the honor to have Brett Kepner do the announcing several times. And the one year we had that laugh because we all know how brash Brett can be, but we have a citation that runs with us, the Sweetman brothers, and that was a god awful looking streetcar. And the same with like a Tempo or an Arrow and things like that. But for some reason, these cars made pretty cool looking funny cars, and we're glad to have those in the group. And that's one of the things I like is when we have some of the oddities and things like that, where they're not all Vegas or they're not all Corvettes or things like that, which were quite popular back then. But again, like I said, we've got the Warpath, which is a Somerset, which was probably one of the beautifulest ones out there, was Del Poldi's. And it was a little newer style, mid 80s, but it's still a cool look. It looked like the street car. And that's kind of what we were looking at. Not like evolution is what it is, but the funny cars have grown into what they are now. They're all aerodynamic and done in a wind tunnel. But, again, we can step back in time. If you don't want to go to the national event, you can come to a cool one of our nostalgia events or Night of Fires and see these cars the way they used to be, and talk to the drivers, get your pictures taken in the car, or just having a good old time. As I like to say, it's 2 runs on a Saturday night, barbecue and bullshit.
Hey, that's a pretty good time right there for sure. So how many years has this promotion been going on? And right now in the present day, what do you hope the future holds for Great Lakes?
I'll tell you what, when we started, 2002 is when I bought our first car, which was a Monza, and we got it out in 4, and we kind of ended up meeting people, and we drug that up and down the road for nothing or next to nothing for a long time. And we met people. We got a couple races here. They got a couple races there. And then in 2008, we created the Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car Circuit. And what's kind of bringing us together tonight is the fact that this is our 15th year anniversary, 2022. And for a match race circuit to exist for 15 years is pretty spectacular. I wouldn't say it's, the longest. I don't know for sure, but it's up there. You had the UDRA and Mid-American Funny Car Circuit, Midwest Funny Car Circuit, and things like that. So when we did start, I told all these guys, I said, hey, this nostalgia thing, again, whether it's funny cars, dragsters, Alders, you name it. But back in 2002 or 3, that's when it was kind of starting to come together. And I said, hey, this is a wave. We're on this wave. I don't know how long it's going to last, but let's ride it out. And surprisingly enough, we're still riding that wave. And we had a rough couple of years, just like everybody else. But I think right now, with the way things are going with the NHRA and with some of these other places, people are moving around a little bit. They want to come see a show, a 2-3 hour show, and then go home. And we offer that. And there are some other groups out there that offer the same thing. But we're hoping that we can get a couple more years, maybe 4 or 5 more years. Don't really know, but we're going to keep riding this thing as long as we can, and the tracks keep booking us in, and the spectators keep coming out to watch us.
Got a question here. It says, are you guys coming to Empire?
I believe we are. I don't have it a commitment yet. I talked to Jerry a couple days ago. It sounds like a possibility.
All right, that'd be good. Empire is definitely been upping their game and adding and improving to that facility, and looking forward to great big shows and even your involvement there at Empire in the future. So, Dennis, congratulations, 15 years, cool deal, man. What are some things that we can expect in 2022 for people to make sure that they can catch the great action of your gang? And what are some dates that we already do know of and people can check out?
Well, we've got June 4th at Edgewater, which is in Cleveland, Ohio, just outside of Cincinnati. We just inked the deal for July 25th, or June 25th, I believe, at New York International. I believe that's the name of the track in just outside of Buffalo there. We're at our Funny Car Nationals is July 9th at Keystone. We're at Keystone at the end of September for their nostalgia event. Sure hoping to bring us into Quaker City a couple of times, and we're still, again, I'm hoping to have a more solid schedule at the end of January, but we've got a lot of contact with some of these tracks, and again, we were at quite a few, maybe 3 years ago. 2020 actually showed, promise before all hell went, hit the wall. But in March we had 13 or so scheduled for 2020. So somewhere around 10 to 15 a year is kind of what we look at. And to go back to a question you kind of asked earlier about the area, we called it the Great Lakes. I wanted to kind of cover the Great Lakes states, and we have kind of a broad membership area, so that originally when we put this thing together, we didn't want anybody to really travel much longer than 4 or 6 hours unless they wanted to. So we try to get the people in the region for those particular events. And if somebody has a track that might be on their bucket list and they say, yeah, sure, we'll drive all the way to Nashville to go down there or wherever, we'll give them that opportunity.
Oh, that's definitely cool. And, speaking of what you guys are doing with these, the funny cars and all the nostalgia stuff, what do you think, as someone that's promoting things, of what Chris Graves is doing with the funny car chaos? It's different than what you guys are doing, but what do you think of, having something else that promotes the funny car scene like what you guys are doing?
Well, I think all of it is helpful. Again, it gives the people an opportunity to see these cars in different lights. There are some people that just, again, like I said, want to go out and make 2 passes on a Saturday night. There are some people that love the competition, and they're willing to do what they need to go fast. And I'm not saying that we're not going fast, but, and I kind of went down the wrong road, but I think it brought a way big, a new interest into the sport, and I think they've probably touched a little different age bracket, which is great, because you go to a nostalgia event and it's fairly 40 or older, and as time goes by, we are starting to see more younger people, which is great, because we all know that the sport of drag racing needs the next generation. The gearheads just aren't born like we were, and hopefully, we'll do something to get their interest and keep this great sport alive.
So, Dennis, we do got Tommy in the waiting room, so we're going to be bringing him on very soon. My last question for you, I've got to ask, since, well, you're a funny car guy, the best funny car body ever, in your opinion?
Oh boy, you put me on the spot. I have to say, even though I said something about the masses, my very first car was a Monza, and it was pretty cool. But our last car was the '79 Trans Am, and I think between the '79 Trans Am and the '79-80 Corvette, with a great paint job, I don't think there's anything more sexy than those two.
All right, solid lineup.
Nah, Mustang. It's like I'm playing. But
The
no,
Mustang
no,
too
thank you
makes
for.
it cool. Again, that was kind of like what I referred to earlier that Brett did. You know, the Mustang 2 street car was the very first couple ones were horrible looking, but boy, they made a cool looking funny car. Look at one of the ones that runs with us, Frantic Ford, and the Iron Outlaw. That Iron Outlaw is a beautiful car.
Right. You'll happen to have a tempo running. Let me ask that. Anybody got a tempo? Anybody?
We do have two.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, they're from the West Coast.
Very cool.
So I gotta ask, with having Brett Kepner announce some of you guys' races, what are some of the funniest things you've heard that man say? Because, I mean, he is a ball of energy and has voices that he can do and go back and forth. So what is it like having him announce a race for you guys?
Well, one of the funniest things I have to say is that actually Chris Massarella with the Total Insanity car, we're standing there talking to Brett, and he says, "Hey, that sounds just like Brett does on the TV," and it's like he does, and it is just amazing. We were so lucky to be able to have him at 4 of our events, and he put so much perspective and different history to it. And probably the funniest things that he said probably aren't repeatable, but it's just amazing. We all know that there probably might be some embellishment here and there, but he has incredible memory. And I'm sure that it's a shame that he never sat down and wrote that book he's supposed to write.
Hopefully, there's still time. Maybe he can get it in. Well, Dennis, look, it has been great to have you on. Been great to learn a little bit more about the Great Lakes nostalgia funny car scene, and we hope that you all have a great 2022 and happy anniversary on 15 years, man.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the time to be out here and tell a little bit more about the group. And you guys have a great evening.
Y'all use well.
Thank you.
Man, I've got to catch some Great Lakes nostalgia funny car now, man.
Hey, that's close to my neck of the woods. You know, maybe I can do a 2-for-1, especially over there in Ohio. Thinking,
there you go.
Get down there, do a little bow hunting, catch a drag race. Never know. Never know what's in the cards for 2022, man. Never know.
You don't. Well, we do know what's in the cards for the lineup of the show. We need to take a break, and then we need to bring Tommy on and talk to him about, getting back in the game. Let's take a break.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Tommy.
Yo.
Hey, man.
Put me in, coach.
Good to have you on.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Right. So let's dive right in. I mean, championship, U.S. Nationals, tune people to first career victory. I mean, you've done it. You've done it all. Why come back? Why come back, man? Why?
Well, I mean, there's various reasons. The biggest reason is tried for 3 years to get away from it and just kind of realize that after you've done it for, even professionally for over half your life, it's kind of who you are. So it's kind of makes you feel whole again when you're back doing it again.
There you go. Something was missing. Gotta have it back.
Yep, definitely.
Lee, what it was is when he was on his way, he was driving one day and he heard the great song, "Put Me In, Coach, I'm ready to play." And he's like, you know what? I finally know exactly what this song means. Tommy, we kind of met in passing there in Vegas. You were standing at the trailer to get your credentials to get into the race. I was standing there too. We didn't.
I remember that.
We really, yeah. And then fast forward probably 45 minutes, I see you at the pits, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? So the questions started asking, but before we dive into exactly what you're going to be doing, you took some hiatus and you went and got into the beef jerky industry.
Yes, sir. That was, it was kind of a plan for retirement was to, I've got 2 retail beef jerky stores, and I've got a USDA certified little small plant that we do. When we're rocking and rolling in the summertime, we'll do about 1,500 pounds of beef and then another 500 pounds of pork and chicken a week. And then the slow times, like right now, we'll do about 750 pounds of beef and then, a little bit less chicken and pork. So we stay pretty busy even when it's not making money because it's not busy enough with COVID shutdowns and this and that. But I don't want to give that up. But, talking to the wife, and then when Mike Green called me and, I'm not going to be the main guy, so I don't have all the stress. I don't have the amount of time that really needs to go into it, taken away from the business. And Mike said, I'll let you know when you need to be down here. And obviously during the winter, like right now, is when we're going to spend the most time. So I'm down in Indy right now, yesterday, today, tomorrow, go back to Michigan and make sure that my employees and everybody's got everything straightened out and get everything going and get them set up for next week, because I'm going to come down again for 3 days and then another 3 days the week after that so we can get ready for testing.
Very cool. Well, I like jerky. Where can we get this jerky?
www.beefjerkyunlimited.com. We ship anywhere in the country.
Well, boom. That's simple.
Yes, sir. By the Vegas deal, the reason I didn't really say anything to you was I actually wasn't. I went there. My wife needed to go there because she works for Stanley Black & Decker, and she goes, "Why don't you come to Vegas?" I really didn't know that. I think her and Mike Green's wife kind of had an under plan. I actually think that they were piloting this whole whole thing about planting the seed in Mike Green's head and planting the seed in my head, and then I went to Vegas, and then it's all catch the bug after that. Now I'm back in it.
Right. Your wife's like to Mike, like you got to get him back. You got to.
He's just not the same anymore.
You can see, I think she likes having me at home. Of course, she may say something different, but she could see too that something was missing. I wasn't like I was unhappy, but it wasn't the same. She kept hinting around. Don't you think you could go racing and do the business if you found the right deal? I said, yeah, but nobody's called me. I said, I've talked to a few people when I was in Indy and didn't see any interest. So I'm just going to keep plugging away on the business. And then, boom, Mike Green, my savior.
See, and I want you to talk about that before we continue to go any further, is that people can tell when something's not right. Like for a racer or someone that's embedded into motorsports, you have a passion and a desire for it. And when you take that out of them, you take them out of that groove, it changes them. And so you just said it that, your wife could tell. Was there still an itch for you and that, okay, maybe this is that opportunity, or maybe now is that chance?
At first there wasn't. 2019 was pretty enveloped in getting the business going and learning it and just kind of getting the business side of it, budget and everything like that lined out. So I was pretty busy, didn't really notice anything. And then 2020, we're all enveloped into the dang pandemic and shutdown. So that's the farthest thing from your mind at that point. But then in 2021, I started to feel a little something, but it was like, maybe I can get enough money this year after 3 years and get my 10.5 car back together, and that'll take care of the thirst for competition. Because that's a lot, a lot of it is camaraderie with all the guys that I'm missing out there, all the vendors that you deal with and talk to through the course of all, 26 years of doing it. You miss all those people. And like I said, I was still kind of okay, but once my wife got me to go to Vegas, Mike Green talked to me, and then I was around the cars, and I knew that I had a shot to come back with the opportunity to still run the business and be able to go racing again. It was like the best of both worlds. I'm like, yeah, I got it. If I don't do this, I'll kick myself, wondering why I didn't at least try.
Right. Let me see if I can do this correctly. Share and come back. Is this it? Is this it?
That is it.
Yes, folks. Look at it. Oh, look at it. Look at it. Let me bring it full screen. Beef jerky unlimited, and I'm gonna go to over there and scroll down. Like, dude, like this one caught my attention. Cherry maple chicken jerky. Ooh.
Got cherry maple beef and cherry maple chicken. Cherry maple beef's one of our top sellers.
Ooh.
For people who like hot jerky, I've got 3 different flavors of hot jerky, but obviously the hottest one is nitro.
Yes.
And if you look at our logo, it's that unlimited logo with the bull horns. On the nitro, it's got flames coming out, so his horns are like headers.
Yes, awesome.
Lee, I think I have a better idea. I think Winter Nationals, you and I go down, meet up with Tommy, and we get to taste all of the jerkies.
I think he needs to
For the
have some
people-
of the track. Yes.
For the people of the Competition Plus Power Hour.
Well, you guys are trying to get me to give you some free jerky, aren't you?
I love jerky, man. I'll take it.
Lee, our sales pitch didn't work.
No.
It didn't work, Lee.
I'll definitely give you guys some samples, because it'll be just like when I went to Vegas and caught the bug. You eat my jerky, you'll be buying it.
Love good jerky, man. Look, Phil, he says the nitro is brutal. He's had a taste of it, and man, that's cool. I know you're coming back in, but like going out, and you kind of went in a completely different
path.
Why beef jerky? I mean, jerky. Why?
It just kind of happened, originally my original thought was, and I kind of was doing a little cost analysis and talking to people, as I was going to start a fuel pump business for obviously pro mod cars, and kind of like a Waterman type deal, but just a different design. And more and more I got into looking at it and the cost analysis and just how much inventory and how many other pump manufacturers are out there at this time. It didn't seem like that good of a deal. And I had met the original owners of this beef jerky company when I was working for Alexis, and we crossed paths again just out of sheer divine intervention one day. And they had said that they were looking at retiring and getting out of the business. And the wife and I talked, and it took us about 6 months to finalize everything. And that was the direction that we were going to go at that point. I mean, I love cooking anyway. I'm always using all my friends and family as guinea pigs, always trying different seasonings and on steaks and burgers and ribs and pork butts. And so I always like blending flavors. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I get to mix my own flavors and see if the customers like it. And if they don't, we don't make that flavor.
I mean, dude, like all you need is the brewery, and you have like the ultimate man business dream thing going. Like I drag race, I do jerky, and I do beer. I mean, it's yeah.
It's been talked about to see if we could get a liquor license for beer, no doubt.
Lee, that's his next retirement plan. Okay, can't.
Yeah, right. That's the next retirement plan.
Well, I mean, realistically, I got. We're doing this deal and then trying to consult and help a guy for a couple of races too, with another couple of guys that I used to work with, Andy Setwinski and Glenn Huser, and they're helping on another car that hopefully will come out for a couple of races in Funny Car this year. And I'm too busy to do anything. I got that, work on Justin Ashey's car, and go work the business. I'm be flat out. That's it.
Oh, and you talk about it, diving into the team that you're going to be working with, the Ashley team, and with Mike Green. How is that a fit for you? I mean, because that's something that you have to look at and you have to think about, the driver, the crew, and you've seen how they interact, especially how they are in Vegas. They have a younger crew, a lot of guys with passion. You have Greg, you have Austin, two younger guys they're really passionate about it. So how does that all work for you with working with that team?
Well, I'll tell you, in Vegas, I just kind of came to visit and kind of got to see everybody from just a normal perspective, not me coming into work there or anything like that. And I was just totally impressed with the chemistry they all had, the passion they all had. Most of them came from big teams and were just in love with being able to work on a single car team with a lot less drama and a lot less people for a lot less personalities to mesh. And, obviously Mike Green, I already have history. We worked together very shortly on this blue skull car at Snakes. Then we both got fired and we came back, and then we went to Darryl Gwynn's New York Yankees dragster for the last half of the year at the end of that sponsorship for those guys. And Mike and I had a blast. And that's where we both had talked we went back to funny cars after that was over, and we both had said maybe someday we get back together and give it a shot and see if we can win a championship together. And that was part of his selling point when he called me. He was like, hey man, this is our chance to fill this bucket list. So, I mean, Mike, basically the way I look at it is if there's anybody out there that can't get along with Mike Green, then you might need to look in the mirror, because he's just, like anybody else, he can get mad or not get, but getting along with him is easy peasy. The guy's just an awesome dude. So that's an easy fit right there. And then the guys, once they heard that I was thinking of coming there and that I got a job offer there, they're all like, man, we hope you come over. So when everybody opens their arms like that and shows that you're wanted and appreciated, it makes that decision so much easier.
Well, with the decision of jumping back into the game, it's been, a couple of years from what I understand, reading some bio and looking at dates. Is there any drastic difference from when you were out there regularly, or does it still look very similar? Or has there been advancement in the sport? What have you seen from being there, going out, coming back in?
There's some advancements. Obviously, I haven't been around it enough yet to really see it all. For me, it's just it's a major change, because I've started out in dragsters. Then I spent most of my career in funny cars. So now going back to a dragster, there's some differences that, but I got Mike Green there. I'll say something like, hey, we do this. Like, he'll go, Tommy, it's a dragster. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I got to take a little time to get used to it. So there'll be some learning curve as far as just nuances from dragster to funny car, and then some of the new parts. But a lot of it, NHRA has kind of sanctioned a lot of stuff, so it makes it really hard for guys to research and develop new stuff. But there is stuff out there. You just got to look at a lot of the little areas now. There's not a lot of big advancements left with the rules package, so it hasn't changed a ton. It's still how much grips the track have, how much power, and how does your clutch work, and how do you apply it from run to run. I mean, all that's still the basic foundation, kind of like football. Everybody runs kind of the same plays, but there's little wrinkles that the better coaches run than the coaches who aren't quite as good, but they're all good. It's the NFL. It's pro football. Well, this is pro drag racing. They're a crew chief who looks like he's not doing that well, and fans may think, well, he ain't as good as that guy. Well, they're all really smart, and everybody's really close, even though it doesn't look as close on the racetrack. A guy who didn't run good or smoking tires, he was probably, didn't have that much different than you did. Probably, he might have been within 3 grams on the clutch. That's how much difference it can make between it going and smoking the tires. So that being said, it's got to go back to the basics and remember your foundation and just keep it simple. Right now too is a big part of the job too is just working with the guys. That's a lot of the fun, is having the time that I don't have to do all the crew chief duties. I can spend time with the guys and try to instill, when they need it, what knowledge I do have that they haven't learned yet. That's going to be fun.
And you're going to jump right in with Mama Sharon, too, who's going to take care of you, make sure you're fed. I know Lee can attest to that. Great, but like you said, a great team. And then you're going in with not just Mike Green, but then you have a phenomenal driver in Justin Ashley and his performance that he's done. How do you think that, I guess, coattails to your abilities and to your talents, having someone who's very eager like himself?
Again, it's like icing on the cake, man. You already got a bunch of younger guys, or at least younger than me, that have passion and want to win. And working for Mike Green, who's an awesome guy to work for. And obviously I don't know Dustin Davis that well, but I know that every time we've talked and hung out, he's just been a joy and pretty much has the same vision that I would if I was him or I was an owner. And then you just add to it one of the top drivers in dragster that is already in his career. Like, it's just icing on the cake. It's just everything keeps adding up. Like, how can you pass this up? Everything's lining up way too well.
Well, man, look, in 2022, hope that it's a successful year for Davis Motorsports and Ashley Racing, and for you yourself being involved. I have to wonder, though, let's see, who asked the question? Where did it go? Terry Sutton, he asks, Tommy, do you still have the Nova? What's going on with the Nova? Because I saw some photos. It looked like you were at Drag Week or something. What's going on with that?
Well, my friends and I, we put that car together to originally run at Milan, Michigan. They used to have an all-motor event the first Friday of every month during the summer. When that car count and the rule package kind of moved away from what we had, we fit right into the NA 10.5, which is naturally aspirated 10.5, true 10.5 tire class in NMCA. And we had a blast. But with opening a business and COVID and all that, obviously the race car operation is the first thing you cut off your budget. So it's been sitting, motors apart. There's been a few upgrades made before we decided that we were going to take a break from racing it. And who knows, maybe we'll get to a point this year, if not this year, maybe next year, we'll get it back together and take it out there for some fun. I'm not sure yet. Right now, I just want to concentrate on the business, concentrate on my second job, and just do the best we can to be the strongest team we can be this year.
I like it. It's not a bad plan. Jerky and Top Fuel Dragster. I like it.
I'll make sure to bring you guys some stuff to Pomona, but I can't bring every flavor.
No, certainly not. But hey, you bring that cherry. That one is like that one. Yes. I might just order some after we're done with the show anyway. I mean,
I'll bring some cherry. I'll bring some black pepper, which is really good. I'll bring some Cajun. I'll bring some Nashville hot chicken, which is pretty dang good. And I'll bring you a couple surprise flavors.
Okay.
That aren't even on the website that you guys can try.
Ooh. Yeah, look, Tommy, you ever need a taste test?
Silly season.
Just send them on.
You got it, guys.
Lee, he's got some silly season flavors that haven't came out yet.
Right, you got silly season flavors. That's right.
That's a good. I never thought I'd call him that. I can call him that when I actually do debut him. That'd be awesome.
There you go.
I mean, it's for everything, right? Silly season just does not pertain to drag racing. I mean, it's life and everything else that's going on. So there you go.
Well, for years, I didn't know there was anything else but drag racing. So I guess, yeah, you're right.
There you go. Elon, we got him in the green room. and he's typed in the private chat that, I want all the jerky. So you're going to have to hook Elon Werner up there.
Well, if I had his money, I'd burn mine so he can afford to buy it all.
He wants to say something, Lee. You can see his fingers moving. You might as well just bring him on at this point.
Right. I tell you what. Yes, let's bring Elon Werner on. PR great. Maybe the greatest of all time. Right there.
I want all the jerky. That's all I'm saying.
Well, did you hear what I said? I said, with your money, I'll burn mine, and you can buy all the jerky.
Easy. You've used your crew chief empire to take over the jerky game.
Gee.
Now
we're just a little niche, little market.
I mean, you're the Amazon of jerky, Tommy D.
I wish.
Everybody's got to be somebody. Hey, believe it or not, Dot's Pretzels, I had those before they were famous. That started in her kitchen. Then she opened up, I think, 20 miles from where I live. She opened up her first store. Now look at how big she is. Everybody's got to be somebody. So,
Elon, you drinking a beer?
No, I'm drinking a Diet Coke.
Oh.
He comes on to the late.
I know it'd be great if I just rolled right into a Miller Lite or something.
Hey, it's a late night show of drag racing.
It can look like you had a Coors Light.
Yeah, no, it's a Diet Coke. So this is my last Diet Coke of the night. I can have one, and then old man Elon has to stop around 9:30, or it keeps me up all night.
Oh man. Don't go too hard on the diet.
Yeah. Then I will switch to beer. Although Tommy knows. Tommy and I've spent a fair amount of time in bars together. I'm not always drinking Diet Cokes.
That's why I thought you were drinking a beer.
I know, it's fair.
We're getting older. We can't drink as much anymore.
We can't. I mean, I can drink as much. It's just the recovery time on the backside.
Right. Well, that's why you're the PR guy. I worded it wrong. Yes, I can drink as much, but I won't feel as good the next day.
Or the day after that, and sometimes the third day.
Yep.
Not good.
Yeah, Lee, you know about that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Hanging out with Slam and Sam.
Right. Yeah. Hanging out with Slam and Sam.
These guys apparently hit it pretty hard, Tommy, at PRI to the point that they were struggling the next day after the.
Yeah.
No. Sam was not struggling.
Sam was fine. I was not. I do not typically.
That's why I don't go anymore.
Yeah.
But may I?
See, that's the secret right there. If you dance all night, you sweat all the alcohol out.
Not when you're just keeping it 10-2.
I'm not really sure that it works out that way, but if that makes you feel better, you go with it.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
I got to point down. I like that.
Hey, I know one thing. Whether you sweat it out or puke it out, it's coming out one way or the other.
Also true.
I don't like either one. I'd rather just pee it out.
Yeah. I mean, you're only renting beer anyway.
All right. Beer is easy. Beer is just water with bubbles.
Right. It is.
So you're at least staying hydrated.
Yeah. That's technically not accurate. I remember one year at the Motorplex, we had that Horde Festival, and about 3:00 in the afternoon, we're loading these girls that weighed about maybe 105 pounds into the back of ambulances. And they're like, I don't understand why I'm dehydrated. I've been drinking Coors Light all day. Okay, well, that's not really going to hydrate you, ma'am.
Yeah. They say that's water, but it's not.
It's not.
I've never really had a problem with beer. It's more like when I worked on the Patron car and tried to drink tequila, it was not good.
Yeah. I lost all my tequila privileges because of Patron.
Amen to that comment. That's the tweet of the night.
Yeah, I was gifted a bottle of Patron Platinum by Alexis, and I had not had any tequila, and that stuff was so smooth, you didn't even realize you were drinking it. And then I'm at a party with my wife, and it was a swim party for my kids, and I looked down at my phone, and all my message says is, "We have to leave right now."
That means you were already in trouble.
Oh yeah, it was long gone. Apparently saying the F word in front of a bunch of 8-year-olds at a swim party is not really the best way to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, that might be a little bit dangerous with the wife there.
Yeah.
Did you have to write your own press release after that one, Elon, for the
No.
next morning?
No, but I was told that I needed to either give all that away or so I just took it across the street to our neighbors, and basically everybody did shots. I did not partake, but all the neighbors did shots for the whole afternoon. To
It
just
sounds like you got cool neighbors.
yeah, they loved it. They thought I was neighbor of the week.
Again, it sounds like you got cool neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you got them fooled, one of the two.
They had the pool. That's why we're the only house, well, one of the few houses in our neighborhood, our group, that doesn't have a pool. So I try to keep everybody supplied in liquor or drag racing tickets. So I have unfettered access to their pools because that's a lot less expensive than pump maintenance and chlorine.
You still live in
like
California?
I'm in Dallas.
Dallas? Well, it's
Yeah.
still warm. But I was going to say, when we have a pool too, but when you have a pool and you live somewhere that actually has real seasons, you find out that you have certain people that are your pool friends as soon as summer rolls around, and then you don't see them again until the next summer.
Yeah. I would not be a pool friend because I'm assuming you have a fire pit too, Tommy.
Well, Rachel has to have a fire pit.
Yeah. So see, I'd be a year-round friend because I'd be there for the fire pit. I'd be there for the pool.
No, we don't go out.
Spring.
We don't go out in the fire pit when it's snowing, though.
Oh, you got a hot tub for that or anything?
No,
All right.
no.
Those
So
freeze
really,
too.
when it's snowing, so what you're saying is you're indoors for 6 months out of the year in Michigan.
8.
Yeah, well, now it's not bad. I'm going to work on race cars.
Yeah,
Spend most
exactly.
of my time doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
And Rachel's back in the race car game.
It's kind of funny how that worked out, isn't it?
It's like the mob. You just think when you can get out, they just pull you right back in again.
At first, I actually thought she was wanting me to go back racing so that I couldn't go to Monaco with her next year when she has to go to Monaco, the F1 race.
Oh,
Like, you set this up so I
Has to
can't go,
go.
didn't you? Yeah. Yep.
Tommy, you're not going to believe what they're making me do. I've got to go to Monaco for the F1 race.
Yep. How cool is that?
That's awesome. Does she need a lackey? I mean,
Hey, man, you got her phone number.
I know that now that I know, I'm going to, that's going to be better yet. Do you need a lackey? I mean, a man of your stature surely can't be carrying your own bags.
I do, but I could always use an assistant, but
Yes,
there's not a lot of pay in it.
that's fine.
You only get Jerky.
I've been paid in worse.
Lee, looks like we're going.
Put me down.
All right.
Put me down.
Hey, Elon, go
Right.
get my bags.
Yeah.
Here's a bag.
Here's some jalapeno jerky.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. DeLago.
That's all I could afford.
That'd be great.
Oh, Tommy, man, look, thank you for coming on. We're going to let you go. Have a good rest of your evening. And we hope 2022 is a great year for you in burning nitro and making jerky.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. It was
Yes, sir.
cool
Thank
seeing
you.
you
No
guys
problem.
and talking to you. And I guess I'll be seeing you in Pomona, won't I?
You'll
Hopefully.
see me at testing in Phoenix, Tommy, if you make it down for that.
If I make it there.
If you make it there. But for sure, Pomona.
I'm just joking. I'll see you there.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Elon.
Gentlemen.
Well, look, first, let me say on behalf of both of us, thank you. You put a lot of hard work getting us great guests. Thank you, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love doing it because you guys, when I was talking to Dennis earlier, he's like, these guys just don't talk NHRA drag race. And I go, no. Power Hour, if it's got wheels and you can race it, they are happy to talk to you about it. And that's the
That's
beauty of
awesome.
Power Hour.
No, it is.
And I don't even know if it
It
has
is.
wheels. I'm sure you guys, if we got a kick-ass snowmobile guy, we talk snowmobile racing.
Evan Salimi, associated with Melanie Salimi and Lucas Salimi, they do race snowmobiles at New York International Raceway Park, Lancaster Dragway. So, yes, we can talk about that even right here.
There you go. See, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So you guys,
I'm
happy
down.
2022, fellas.
2022. It's
2020.
like-
The end of 2021 in December. Now we're back, kicking it in January.
That's right. That's
We
right.
survived New Year's, fellas.
Yeah. Speaking of that, how was your New Year's? How was your holidays? Inform
all
us.
good.
Catch us up.
My kids are back from college, so they're floating around and doing stuff. So it's great to see them. Didn't really do too much for New Year's. Watched the college football games. and did make it to midnight. But
did you watch the most important college football game though?
The most important one. So let's see. What would Sammy think was the most important college football game? I don't know.
Wisconsin versus ASU.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't know that I saw that one. I might have missed that one. But I did get
wasn't there a bit of a disappointment with Mizzou?
There was, yes. We were at that game. We went to the Mizzou Army. I saw the two best Mizzou games in person this year. We went to Mizzou to see the Florida game that Mizzou won in overtime at the end of in overtime, going for 2 on the 2-point conversion to either lose or win the game. And it happened right in front of us. And then we were at the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth, where they lost to the Golden Knights of Army. And good for those guys. I mean, anytime you see the service academies playing, I get fired up because, and I was, we're at the game, and I bought the tickets to the game through Ticketmaster right when we knew Mizzou was going to go. So I just bought the best available tickets, and I bought 4 seats at the 50-yard line, smack dab in the middle of the Army section. We go down there. I'm wearing my Mizzou sweatshirt. Abby's in her Mizzou colors. Nick's in a Mizzou shirt. My wife's kind of Mizzou'd up. Got a Mizzou stocking cap on, and we're just like, yeah, there's a real good chance we're going to get our asses kicked.
Now. In Army's defense, we are not that crazy sometimes. Only the Navy game is when you will see
yes
the like
they were in rare form because it was Armed Forces Bowl, so there were tributes to all the other service academies. And I will say, my son is a Marine ROTC student at George Washington, so he has some very strong feelings about the other services and his interaction with Navy guys and Air Force guys. And so I understand it's the rivalry. It's you're kind of vying for money from the government and how you're treated and this, that, and the other, and who actually did win the war and contributed the most. So it was interesting when they were talking about the other armed services or other services, how the Army guys and kind of reacted to that, because there were a couple of West Point guys around us. But it was cool. Right before they kicked the field goal that was a potential game winner, I asked the person in front of me, hey, is this kicker, very good? Because it's like a 40-yard field goal. And they're like, well, he missed a 33-yarder at the beginning of the game. It took us a while to get in the stadium, so he missed a little bit of the first part of the game. And they go, I think he's made about half the kicks he's attempted this year. So on the one hand, I liked my chances as a Mizzou fan. But on the other hand, I was really kind of pulling for him because I was like, man, this guy will never have to buy another beer ever if he kicks the game-winning. Think about it. You're Army, West Point, and you kick the game-winning field goal at the Armed Forces Bowl.
Only Elon would think that in that moment. Like,
when you kicked it, I wasn't even mad because all those Army guys, they were so excited, and I was like, well, it was a good game, and Mizzou is terrible. There's a reason why the SEC is so top-heavy. They opened up bowl season. The SEC was 0-5. Every lower-tier bowl game, they lost. Now, we're going to get saddled with a rematch of the SEC championship game, but that's just because they got the 2 best teams in the country. What are you going to do?
We're going to talk about drag racing now.
No. So I live in North Dakota, right? And NDSU has been so good for so long. And everyone's like, we're going to the They're like, we're going to the national championship. No, you're not. You're going to like the toilet bowl of D1 national championship. Like, please let me I tell them all the time, you're playing high schools.
Well, I love all the bowls. Independence Bowl, Tostitos Bowl, the Tony the Tiger Bowl. I love.
When's the John Force Bowl next year.
Oh man, well, I mean, they had the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl in L.A.
Right.
I mean, it's not too far out of the question. But yeah, so I as much as it, I mean, I grew up when I was my first 5 years. I was raised in Auburn. Both my parents taught at Auburn.
Okay.
So every picture of little Elon from 0 to like 5 years old, I'm either wearing something that says Tiger or War Eagle. Every single one of them. So when I see Alabama have success, it pains me. But I've worked a number of the college football national championship games. I've had a couple interactions with Coach Saban, and you can't discount how good the University of Alabama is in football and in a lot of sports. But when you go from taking 11 of your players the previous year, they go to the NFL and are all succeeding at the NFL, and 8 months later, you reload your quarterback who people really didn't know anything about, wins the Heisman Trophy, and you're back in the national championship game. I mean, you just got to beat them. But and they'll always be, until Nick Saban retires, Alabama will be unstoppable. Because would you guys like to hear an insane Nick Saban stat? Imagine we go into Sammy's house and Sammy's sitting there, and little Sammy Jr. is a 18-year-old high school number 5 offensive lineman in the country. And Coach Saban sits across from you and says, Slammin' Sammy Jr., if you come to Alabama, I will make you one promise. If you spend 4 years in my program, I can guarantee you'll win a national championship. Because for the last 18 years, he's been able to say that. If you go to Alabama and you stay in the program for 4 years, the last 2 decades, you're guaranteed at least one national championship. That is tough to recruit against, fellas. When you say
I don't like Bama, but sorry, son, you're going. I'm just never wearing Bama across my chest. I'm sorry.
You'll just wear he'll just have roll tide. He'll just have a bunch of on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
How about that stat? If you went to Alabama and played football and you were 4 years in the program, guaranteed to get a national championship.
Yeah. It's like John Force in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you have that, and that's what we've talked about this before, that Force's dominance is so unique because he dominated for a decade nonstop, well over a decade overall. But for 10 straight years, he was the only guy in funny car and is still universally beloved. I mean, there's going to be some guys that are Force haters, but not nearly to the level where I think half the people like Alabama and the other half just want anybody but Alabama. Half the people back in the day want the Patriots, other half are anybody but the Patriots. Same deal with the Yankees. But Force is just kind of immune to that somehow.
He is. It is fascinating when you look at it that way, because like I firmly disagree with the great monologue that opens up with Patton, and he's like, Americans love a winner. Like, no, we don't. We like the underdog.
Yep.
That's who we typically go with. And you've got John Force, and he's still so well beloved, but Earnhardt wasn't universally beloved.
Nope.
Jimmy Johnson wasn't universally beloved. Jeff Gordon wasn't universally beloved. I would say Michael Schumacher can't even get to that height, of his heyday. Maybe Senna might be the only one, but his career was cut short.
Right. I think he's a sentimental favorite.
Right. But Force is at one. It's like, here's the American that's the winner that we all do love.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting also that even I think there were guys that were universally beloved in IndyCar back in the day. AJ Foyt, they liked his grittiness, his Texas attitude. Johnny Rutherford, the Unsers, those guys were all beloved and respected. But now you just, I think Helio, people dig Helio. I think Tony Kanaan has a fair amount of, sentimental favorites and things like that. But that level of dominance was really never there in IndyCar, where you had a guy, you win 4 Indy 500s and it's beyond comparison. Whereas, we've got guys that have won multiple U.S. Nationals, 16 World Championships, 8 Top Fuel Championships for Tony Schumacher and things like that. So that's just interesting about kind of the IndyCar element. So
transferring to our modern day, who do you
Yes.
think those people are that are going to be, those people that we're talking about? How we mentioned John Force, who were just so loved by the community, but then you have that back and forth where some don't and some do. Who would you say is on that list now?
I think in Top Fuel, Steve Torrance comes to mind. That he's a real love him or hate him guy. But again, he can just simply, look at the scoreboard. I'm the only guy to ever win every countdown race in 1 year. I've won 4 championships in a row. I've had guys chasing me. Adam, they weren't all just runaways. The 1 year was, but for the most part, he's had competition right up until the last day. I'll be curious to see. I think the reception for Tony Schumacher has me interested. Him coming back, kind of what level of success is he going to have? I mean, I think it's probably going to be pretty good. I mean, he came back a couple of years ago and did win the race in Houston after, so he obviously can still drive. I think guys on the funny car side, you're going to look at, I think Caps, it will be beloved and now even more respected because he's won for a second time. And I think that was always, I know that was something I talked to Robert Hyde about, was you won your first championship and then you really enjoyed it, but then you almost had all this pressure to win another one to prove the first one wasn't a fluke. So I think Cap's winning that second one solidifies him. And in pro stock, I mean, you're always going to have, you look at the career of Greg Anderson, Erica Enders, those two, I think, will go down as the Yankees, Red Sox of their class, even more, than, Warren Johnson and Bob Glidden, obviously, they overlapped a little bit. But like at the level where Greg Anderson, KB Racing, and Erica Enders and Elite are really just two heavyweights. It's like, to me, it's Rocky Balboa and Clubber Lang just standing in the middle of the ring, just haymakers, just, what do you, just to me, what are you going to get when those two guys pull up beside each other? Pain, so that's going to be an ongoing deal. And I just think that that deal and Matt's, and then pro stock motorcycle, I'd say Steve Johnson will always be beloved. He could be one of those guys that gets close to the championship but never gets it. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Jim Brown, that, hey, he's really good, but you're not necessarily owed a championship necessarily.
Love the references there.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel in Top Fuel, I think the potential star there, if she can ever get a full pool season together soon, the energy and the synergy that could be with Krista Baldwin,
yes,
could be the next thing that carries Top Fuel. I feel.
I think so. I think you're right. I think we've talked about this before. My excitement level for the NHRA has probably never been higher. The depth in the category, NHRA.com had a story about 10 things to look for in 2022. And one of the things was they just ticked off in Top Fuel 14 drivers that are really championship contenders. And then you talked about guys that were potentially going to get their first wins. And there's this whole other tier of drivers that aren't out on the top and just in top field, just aren't out there all the time. The TJ Zizzos, the Krista Baldwins, Doug Foley, Morrison. There's this whole other level that, on any given Sunday, but then there's these 14 other guys that are on well-funded, well-run, well-managed teams that you're looking at, okay, what 4 drivers potentially are going to be on the outside of the top 10 looking in, when we roll around to Indy this year. And it's going to be – there will not be any first-round races in Top Fuel this year, I don't think. And that's a great – in the same deal, Funny Car, you got young guys coming up, Bobby Bodie. You've got the guy that, Jeff, guys like Jeff Deal and Densham and Dave Richards, that just the passion's there, and they could get hot. And then Pro Stock, you look at a 16-car Pro Stock field, half the guys are over 50, half of them are under 30. And that's a pretty good sweet spot to be in. And they're mixed in with team leaders and established teams and non-established teams. And you got Camry Caruso coming in with a whole new engine program with Titan. So you're going to get some diversity there. You still got Alan Brzezinski trying to figure out the Mopar package. It's going to be nuts, I think. So I cannot wait to get to the Winter Nationals. And it's going to be cool to get to the Winter Nationals when it's not 150,000 degrees.
Actual Winter Nationals.
They've
had some serious snow recently in that part of the world. So, yeah.
So, nothing better than rolling up to the drag races and seeing the snow on the top of those mountains behind the racetrack.
It is so picturesque. I remember the first year I was there, there was enough snow, and I was like, wow, this is that iconic image I've seen since 1988 on, Diamond P something, it's like, yes, right. Finally.
Yeah. It's being a California kid, it's one of those places where we always joke, but you can go surfing in the morning and snowboarding at night.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's especially, in that area, you're so close to Big Bear, you can drive up the mountain and you're 20 minutes away from the beach. So it's like,
it's a great, but someday it's eventually going to break off and fall into the ocean, and all your oceanfront property is going to be like in Nevada and Utah.
I've joked around about that with my family, but that might be some of the best things that ever happens, but we won't go there on the late night show of the Power Hour.
So did you guys have a good holiday?
Yeah.
Yeah, got some drag racing in. Like, I filmed it, I photoed it, and I got behind the wheel. So
I saw that.
Yeah.
Now, how many laps did you turn in that thing, Lee? Or did
I got 2 in? I got 2. Good. Yeah, I gotta work on the reaction time. It's been a long time since I took a tree competitively. I wasn't that far off, but I lost. It was a 832 to my 833. And it was like 500ths or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was. But it was close. It was close drag racing round 1.
You look good in that race car. I'll tell you that.
Hey man, it was cool to be back behind the wheel of something. I had not taken anything down a drag strip since the junior dragster days, and ultimately, I hope to be driving something eventually again one day, even if it's just a bracket car, and experience that and do that again. But that was a whole lot of fun. What Ryan Ayler is doing in that group with Tampa Bay Race Rentals. It's really simple, and it's easy to be introduced to drag racing, and that's smart. It's very smart.
Very cool. Sammy, what?
I got to enjoy Southern California at its finest. Everyone was complaining. It was like 60 degrees. It rained. It was nice, and then it rained some more. Then it got nice again. There was never any snow. I turned a year older, got to spend time with my little brother who was in Vegas playing, you know, in the Vegas Bowl. So I got to spend time with him, my older brother, and my little sister who's home from LSU. So little family time, little Southern California. And yeah, you know, it was a good holiday season, but definitely have the itch to hit the ground running here for 2022.
Cool.
And I think that was all really set up, you know, by what we had and what you were able to do for us down at PRI, you know, get us in front of people, talk with people, and just continue to grow who we are individually and what we have going on the show.
Well, man, I love PRI so much. I love it 10 times more than SEMA. And just the whole vibe there, I thought was really good for the industry, you know, because it is more industry people, not nearly as many fans, and you're just really more talking, you know, racing, not car. You know, there's a fair number of car stuff and aftermarket stuff, but I would say 85% of those people there were there to race. And I thought the NHRA setup was really good. You know, the big announcements and kind of having people on the stage the whole time and lots of drivers just walking around and doing stuff. You know, it wasn't super, you know, you're always Indy in December, could be a little bit dicey, but I thought overall it was just a great show. And that I just, you know, hats off to all the people that put that show together, especially after a year layoff. I thought everything went pretty well.
Yeah, PRI was great. It was my first PRI. I really got the sense that everybody, there was appreciation maybe that was not there in years ahead because
that's a great way to put it.
And look, shout out to Brian Loans. That man was an interviewing machine,
man,
all weekend. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to talk.
I would have.
After that.
I was going to say, if I was him, I would have been in the airport, and I would have just had like the little cue cards that you just hold up when people walk up, and they would want to talk to you. And I would just be like, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm out of words.
I have hit my word max.
Yeah. Yeah. He was, I mean, talk about a guy literally rolling his sleeves up to talk nonstop. And he's got guys like me that have man crushes on him that just want to talk to him about other stuff, that just like want to just talk to Brian. I mean, I can't tell you how excited I am whenever my phone lights up and it's, Brian Loans is calling me. And I'm going to say, I wonder what he wants to talk about. You know, because he's always doing so many things that you can't even keep track of it. So.
No, and maybe that's one of those things, right? He talks so much about drag racing and the sport. Maybe after that, he's like, dude, if you ask me a drag racing question right now, I'm not going to answer.
Yeah,
but if you want to talk about anything, yeah. No, and like I was telling him, go ahead.
No, I'm usually asking him something, you know, the worst part, I'm usually asking him some stupid drag racing question.
There's never, as Brett told us, there's never a stupid question as long as you word it differently.
That's true. That's true.
Right. As long as you word it differently. So but we started up the show, Elon, with what we were looking forward to in 2022. We listed a few things. There's still plenty more. What are you looking forward to? Like specific events, maybe a driver's journey. What's at the top of your list?
I am looking forward to, you know, getting back to 20 races. I think that's a really good number to have in a season. Getting back to Bristol. I love Bristol. I am looking forward to just, you know, getting back to the track and seeing what seeing who's going to continue their positive momentum. You know, how good is Justin Ashley going to continue to be? How good is Josh Hart going to continue to be? Can Steve Torrance keep up the pace? You know, the Coletta guys, you know, I can't wait to see the new Toyota Supra funny car. I saw it in person at the NHRA finals and just sitting on the ground, not even moving, it looked like the fastest car on the property. And seeing how that car performs at 330 miles per hour. And just seeing how, some of these young drivers, these rookies that are going into their second year and these incoming rookies, I just feel like there's just a really good, cool vibe going on in the sport right now. And, just kind of getting these tracks back that we missed the last couple of years, I think will really, continue a lot of that positive momentum.
And so talking about that, younger energy we have in the sport for drivers, how do we as media, and you're involved in that, how do we get a younger audience into the sport? How do we reach out and say, hey guys, Leoni's age, the 30 and under, how do we reach out to them and bring them into drag racing?
More parties. No, I'm joking.
I'll be honest. I think it is. I look at what Josh Hart's doing, particularly with R&L carriers. And he's a guy that has gone, I feel like, old school last year. And I just got to know Josh towards the back part of the year when I helped him out with some of his Rookie of the Year stuff. But if you follow him on social media, he is doing appearances for R&L carriers before almost every race, a couple days before the race. And I think we need to do more of that. I know Coletta's going to have a show car that they're going to have for CMR roofing and construction that they're going to use at shows and things like that. And I think it's getting the race car away from the track. And it's things like the Stampede of Speed that the Motorplex is doing, where you're hosting events at your racetrack close to the race that may bring people that aren't traditionally race fans to the track. I mean, Formula One's been doing it for years. You have a Britney Spears concert or a Taylor Swift concert, Imagine Dragons, and a Formula One race. I think we need to do more things like that where you are doing maybe non-traditional events where you're having this is perfect. You have an EDM event and a drag race at the same venue on the same weekend, where your electronic dance music event starts at 9 o'clock and goes from 9 until sunup, and then the race starts. And it's just like a Midnight Madness type race, but you're bringing this is the perfect deal. One of my favorite concerts I ever went to was when U2 was on the Zoo TV tour. And this is early 90s. They toured the Sugar Cubes, opened for NWA, who opened for U2. You want to talk about three, and they did it at big arenas. You want to talk about three dramatically different groups of fans that all were there for the show, for the music, doing things like that, where you're taking a step back and you're having a national event at the same time that you're having, I don't know, like an electronic dance music concert or, Horde Fest or whatever music concert or, things like that, I think is what's going to bring younger people in, because we all know if they see it and they get to experience it, 9 times out of 10, people dig it. Now, are they going to become a every year ticket consumer? Maybe not. They might watch it, be familiar about watching it on TV, but we have a sport that is built for Instagram, for Twitter, for TikTok. Yep. And we just need to knock down some barriers to make it even more welcoming to people that wouldn't necessarily know about it.
Right.
And that's my deal.
I like that because, this year, the last race in Vegas was technically a few days after the big EDM concert that you had. You rode into the race and you still saw the pods sitting there but like you said, Vegas is that electric place. You have so many people that are going to camp and Even if you're not going to be a life-term member of NHRA, if hey, when I go to Vegas for this EDM concert, they at the same time are going to have that drag race, I can make that my yearly stop.
Right. And trying to do some things where you may not be having a full race, but at other events, you maybe have a pair of top fuel dragsters or a pair of funny cars or pro stock motorcycles start their engines, do a burnout in a controlled environment, or they're just sitting there warming the car up and then taking it apart and warming it up again. If you did that, throughout the day at, what's that big electronic show in Vegas, the CED or whatever. And I know it's like the big
EDC.
EDC, yeah. Why not have an NHRA display at that, and you bring in like Toyota Racing TRD or Ford or bring in all the technology that we're using, but you still have cars warming up to that crowd. And really also, our sport is always built on innovation. What are we doing to help grow the innovation of the sport? And I'll be real honest, I don't think it's electric car racing. I think that's a unique thing, but I have a lot of, I just don't get it. Cars are built to make noise, gas combustion, the smell, the feeling, an electric car doesn't do it for me. And unless you're on the innovation side, where like what Big Daddy's trying to do with his electric dragster, how can I get this electric car to go 300 miles per hour? That to me is more innovative. There's going to be more to come out of that. I look at that as more the benefits of going to the moon, all the technology that came off of building a rocket. At the time, building a rocket was the dumbest thing ever, but all the offshoots that came out of that. I think that's the same deal with Big Daddy's electric dragster. Well, let's look at technology. Let's look at how we can make it lighter, weight transfer, what we need to do. Because I think you're going to look at it and go, oh, golly, I don't need 85 pounds of batteries, but this part over here on my top fuel dragster or on my funny car will be beneficial. So I think we need to do a better job of presenting our sport as an arena of innovation and capture that kind of creativity. And I've got some ideas of how I want to do that with some of the teams that I work with. When I was with Force, we went to Seattle one year. I invited the guys from Blue Origin, which was a precursor to SpaceX, to the racetrack. We brought a bunch of literal rocket scientists to the racetrack. And I was there when John Medlin was talking to some of these guys about the headers and angling headers and changing the design on headers, and why you're using the headers to hold the car down and move down, but why not angle them back so you can use that as propulsion going down the track? Well, that got Medlin thinking about that, and then 3 years later he's with Jack Beckman, and what are we doing? We're angling headers back. And that goes back to that conversation that you brought these rocket ship guys down, and they just had a different way of looking at things.
Bingo. Bingo. We're at Epping. You're a stone's throw away from MIT. Why are we not bringing anybody from MIT that wants to throw something to Mars or blow something up or make nanotechnology or whatever those guys are doing? Let's bring them out and let them see something that weighs 3,000 pounds go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in less than a second and go the lengths of 3 football fields in 3.5 seconds. I guarantee you, most of those nerds have never seen anything like that, but they'll get curious about it. And I say nerd in the most positive. I love nerds. I'm a nerd. Right.
So I'm like, those are the people that you want to, you know, why are we, you know, let's challenge them with, you know what, you're making all these robots that dance and go upstairs. You know what, make me a robot that can take rods and pistons out of a motor. You know, make me a robot that can work a bottom end where you can just roll your car in, and then you don't have to have a human being underneath the car where it's hot and oil. Think about if you could just have robot technology, how quickly could you tear an engine down if you didn't have to worry about heat or oil or whatever?
Any way to expand the sport, I think, is what is needed right now. Look, I remember this made the NASCAR broadcast one time, and it's like the only time they ever did it. I don't understand why they just did it once, but they're at Bristol. They're about to run the day race at Bristol, so that's spring.
Yep.
And I think it was Doug Coletta's car. It was there in the infield. For some reason, they fire it up, and they just whack the throttle 3 or 4 times. And them doing that made the broadcast. The broadcast team was like, man, they just fired that top fueler up, and you heard the reverberation up here. That was insane. Like, why are you not at every SMI track with having that Bruton connection? Like, let us fire this. Let's do a burnout down pit road. You know,
McNeff did one in 2008 before the Coca-Cola 600, and they loved it. We nearly hooked the car up on pit road. You know. So, but yeah, and it's a little bit of it's money, but also some of it's sponsor engagement. You got to get some crossover sponsors to help make that happen. But again, those are questions that you should be asking of, hey, we're glad you're our sponsor. Let's get the new Toyota Supra funny car to a NASCAR race. You know, let's get, you know, we got these tracks, you know, Sonoma races everything.
Right.
Let's get a top wheel dragster and funny car to their IndyCar race, to their NASCAR race, to their MotoGP. Let's have Matt Smith and Steve Johnson or Matt and Angie Smith do something in the MotoGP race to introduce that crowd to what we're doing. So.
Bingo. I completely agree. And look, so there's a job opening at the NHRA right now. They are looking for an extra social media person. So the sport is expanding and growing in that way. And, you know, I feel that's a positive move.
It is.
So, you know, what do you think? What are some directions you think the NHRA should make in the social media department, the multimedia, I'll say, to continue to grow and expand this sport? And I think we got a good sign in that they're looking for even extra more people.
Yeah, I think the addition of, you know, Kurt, who came on board last year, was a great addition. I mean, Nikki, who was for the longest time the only social media person, she is super creative and has a lot of good ideas and manages so much. And that's, you know, that's the hard part, is you're serving multiple masters when you're the NHRA social media person, because there's sold in sponsor elements that are part of the program. So there's some formatics they have to go with that kind of curtails their creativity and the organic nature of what they're doing. But bringing Kurt in, and I thought some of the greatest stuff we had this year was a lot of the top end stuff that you'd never really seen before. And that was just because they kind of turned Kurt loose, and Kurt didn't know anything, which was great. And he just shot what he liked. He shot what he thought was cool. And he got a lot of good stuff. I think you need more of that. I think you need more people so you can be in more places, so you can record more cool things. I would like to see more, and I've talked to the Fox guys about doing like a mega cast, even if it was just online, but where you just had a camera in the stadium. And we had tried to do this at the Pomona race, where they had a camera at the front of the staging lanes and we're talking to guys right before they got in the car to go make a run. What are you going to try to do here in this qualifying session? More things like that, where you're almost Facebook live streaming from the staging lanes, like during Q4. Where's the harm in that?
Yeah, no, there's not.
And using that to, why aren't we creating opportunities to, if you're watching the Fox or FS1 broadcast, 90% of us are still holding our phones while we're watching TV. Why are we not creating piggyback programming that if you're watching the FS1 broadcast, they're saying, hey, go over to the NHRA's Facebook page. We have, Whit Bazemore or John Kernan or some young influencer live streaming from the pit area, just walking through the pit area before the cars pull out.
Right.
To me, I would just be, and we've had, Alison McCormick from DSR. She brought an influencer out last year to the last race of the year, and it was 150,000 followers, something like that. Her brother was into drag racing, so they invited him out and just turned him loose.
Yep.
We need to give those folks a platform to say, hey, if you come out and you're our guest interviewer, we will include your social media channel as part of the Fox broadcast. So you're getting 200,000 of your followers. Now we're exposing your social media channel to our 1 million viewers.
Right.
And create that synergy there.
Right. Right.
So that's what I think my biggest goal is, to take advantage of the growth in the NHRA embracing more social media, which hopefully means they loosen the reins up on some of the rules within safety constraints, but just to give us the opportunity to put more content out there in real time.
Them rules.
The rules.
Wow.
The
rules. And you're talking to a guy that is the habitual rule breaker. I'm the king of, I'll ask for forgiveness before I ask for permission. So
I understand that.
And I've lived with the consequences of, getting my hand slapped, losing privileges, and having to, work your way back. But I think it's those people that push the envelope that then say, this is really making the product better.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where I'm doing a deal right now. I'm about to go to Indy for the College Football National Championship. And we have an issue going on right now with some of the TV stations there, because you don't get access to the field until Monday afternoon to do stuff on field. Well, the Colts played Sunday night at Lucas Oil Stadium. One reporter from one of the Indy TV stations, she and her camera person, they just effing stayed at the game and waited it out until they started doing the field changeover for the national championship game. So she got footage of the field going down. And now all the other TV stations in Indy are crying, well, she got field access. Well, she didn't get field access from the CFP. She got it because she put the time in and waited 6 hours. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
So what if somebody volunteered and got starting line access?
I'm not, so you have to you have to point that out, and then you have to plead your case of saying, I've gone round and round with NHRA PR about top end access for photographers, and photographers are prima donnas. And I love them all. And I'm not going to name any names, but they are an enormous pain in the ass. They are a necessary pain in the ass. But they are, if they see one guy getting 5 Cheetos and they got 4 Cheetos, they think the world is coming to an end. So, so I'm constantly, hey, this guy needs top end access. He's covering for the local paper. He's doing it. And then he was a jerk. He yelled at this guy. He yelled at that guy. And I was like, I get it. I go, and I'm sorry. He's an a-hole. But so when the guy gets access, I tell him, I go, hey, you're going to be able to go up there because I went to bat for you, but quit being an asshole. Be nicer to the people that work here, because, park where you're supposed to park. Don't, that, but again, it's a constant. And I don't envy the people in the nature communications department. I don't envy the people in the marketing department that are in a no-win situation.
Right.
But I do think we need to create more opportunities for people to cover our sport, expose our sport. And again, it needs to be, I think you give someone enough rope to hang themselves. And then when they hang themselves, the punishment should be pretty punitive. Okay, we're going to let you shoot and do interviews, and you're going to have some starting line access. But we want you to show the sport in a positive way. I'm not saying total censorship, but you know what will grow the sport and what will hurt the sport. You know what needs to maybe wait a few days before it gets exposed to the world to get both sides or whatever. And if you break those rules, you break that covenant, then we're done here for half a dozen races.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, that it's very, we're going to let you promote the sport. We want you to cover the sport. We want you to talk to people. Now, if they go off the rail, then it's up to you to then come to the NHRA and say, hey, these guys went off the rail. But I mean, I heard, I don't know who I was talking to about in Australia. They're in a huge media battle right now because the Australian Drag Racing Association put on their media credential form that when you applied for a media credential to cover one of the Australian Drag Racing Association races as a photographer or a videographer, basically you had to turn in every photo you took back to the sanctioning body, and then the sanctioning body could use those photos however they wanted to with no compensation. And the media people, like for every media outlet, that would be like for ABC, for the Dallas Morning News, for the LA Times, for CNN, whoever, that they basically said, if you're going to come cover the race, we get copies of everything you shoot. And then we can use it however we want to. I mean, that's too far.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And they're in a huge battle down there, which ultimately what's going to happen is the media's just not going to cover their races.
Right.
Which may be what they want. I mean, they don't want that. Maybe they may not want the headache. I don't know. But to me, I've always been a fan of giving folks access, promoting the sport. And yeah, we got some warts, we got some things, but that gives every wart gives you an opportunity to talk about it. Okay, hey, yeah, this guy may be a jerk or this may be a safety concern, but look at all these other positive things we're doing. That stadium, I just saw a deal on Twitter that Jalen Hurts sent a letter to the Washington football team in the NFL wanting to know, hey, what are you going to do to make the railing stronger in your walkthroughs after that railing collapsed after the game?
Yeah.
That's one of those things that gets caught on TV and everyone's like, oh, look at what a good guy Jalen Hurts is for, not freaking out and helping them, but genuinely being concerned for these people. But I think it's fair to say, okay, what are you going to do to make it safer?
Right.
I mean, I saw a new angle where the railing fell on a photographer that was underneath it. Luckily, it just kind of hit his legs and stuff, but he could have been hurt really bad. He may still be hurt. I don't know. But our sport has some inherent dangers. But you also have so many more cool things going on with it that you want to expose that and highlight that and realize there's dangers in everything. You saw any number of guys getting carted off the field in football games, bats flying into the grandstands at baseball games. Okay, let's try to minimize that and make adjustments for that. But the cool factor is something we'll always have in ACES over every other sport out there, I think.
Yes. Yeah. No, I like the direction they're going. It was good news to me to see that post or that job opening. Yep, I really think them having 1320 video at Pomona was huge. 1320 video YouTube. It's 3.18 million subscribers compared to 131,000 subscribers for the NHRA.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I interacted with those guys. They were all super cool. We're having a good time. I have not followed up to see what they've posted or if they posted anything or kind of what they've churned out. But again, I know that's a long tail. It takes them a while to make their stuff. So that's the other thing is when we invite those people out there, we do need to make sure that they're kind of following through on their end of producing content.
Right.
It is a
They-
kind of transactional deal.
They posted 4 days ago their first video from Promotional,
Okay.
and it is out there. It's got like 140-something thousand views right now.
We'll check it out.
I'm sure that's going to continue to grow and grow with their platform. And the next thing I would like to see the NHRA do that they currently aren't really doing is a little bit more synergy with those type of groups in sharing what they produced on the NHRA platform itself.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see next. And I hope that's coming because that does seem to be growing.
I'll give you a great example of that. Bobby Bennett is doing amazing things with the Legends series.
Yeah.
He just dropped the Billy Meyer Legend, which is a must see. And I was having a conversation with Bobby about, for Funny Car Chaos, we are going to show that Legend series in the Champions Club in some way, form, or fashion, or show it on we're going to make that a viewing as part of Funny Car Chaos. But I told Bobby, I was like, hey, NHRA now has a Roku channel. They have some content up there. I go, can I reach out on your behalf to Jeffrey Young about you licensing your Legend series videos back to the NHRA and having them just shown on the Roku channel? And to Bobby's credit, he was like, definitely reach out to Jeffrey Young, who oversees all that stuff. He goes, but they don't have to pay me a licensing fee. If they want to show that stuff, I will just let them show it because they've been so good to him, giving him access to footage and things like that. So I talked to Jeffrey Young about it, and that is in the works to have Bobby's produced stuff on that Roku channel. So that door is opening for content that's coming from outside the NHRA to be shared on the NHRA. And really the pioneer for that was Joe Costello. For the longest time, he had WFO radio, and he was doing his thing. And that kind of slowly got morphed into he became an NHRA announcer, and then they started promoting his content on NHRA.com. And I'm hopeful that you'll see more of that. And it's one of those things that we've had the pipe dreams about. We've talked about wanting to do a post-race show. And there's a couple people that are trying to do that. I'd like to see, the NHRA support that, which I think they would, but then B, offer the platform to also promote it.
Yes.
And foster that, because I think that would help the independent producers like you guys if you're able to go to your sponsors and advertisers and say, hey, here's my social media channel that's growing. Here are my followers. But my content is also being shared as an approved NHRA content piece to their 500,000 followers on Facebook and things like that. And I think that's a challenge for all of us to consistently communicate to the NHRA what we're doing, when we're doing it, and then encouraging them to share that stuff and getting drivers to share that stuff and getting sponsors to share that stuff. But it's so much PRing of yourself that you're already doing the work, and you're like, God dang it, I'm doing the work. I'm taking all the financial risk. I'm going to the races and I'm editing it and producing it. Now you want me to send emails to 6 people and then follow up with phone calls and then make sure it happened, and just, and then they're having to do all their own stuff, like going back to kind of the Nikki equation of, she's having to traffic cop all these sponsor promotion, and you're just like, God dang it. You just need, which is again, hopefully with a few more people that'll lessen the load, and then they can be more open to finding some of those diamonds in the rough and sharing them and promoting them and all that stuff. So, I find myself doing the same thing. It's, I feel bad sometimes. Bobby calls me and is like, hey, have you watched this video yet? I sent you. And I was like, God dang it, Bobby, I really haven't. I got to be honest. I just have when I get done doing all my regular stuff and, I just haven't had a chance to do it. So, but those are all things I'm looking forward to, in 2022. So, man, when I started talking, man, the comments just really took a nosedive, didn't they?
No, the wealth of wisdom. People are at awe.
They all just punched out. As soon as Tommy D left, they were like, okay, this is a reverse lineup right here. You're giving me the opening act in the headliner position.
Not at all. No, you deserve it. And like you said, Lee and I have talked to you about a million different things that we like to see, but having those jobs open and having the conversation even be talked about in those rooms to where everyone knows, there's room for improvement. There's room for growth. So I'm excited to see, and who knows?
And you look at really how far we've come from when, the three of us, we've only known each other, 18 months? And I feel like we're making big strides and being consistent and doing things and, getting guests and growing this show and doing more things at the races and things like that. And at PRI, I think that will pay dividends for us going into this year. Get that cough button. Lee, you got to invest in a cough button there, buddy. Or, just some kind of distraction.
Oh,
you guys got all your high-tech backgrounds and all that stuff, and I'm just sitting here in my dining room.
Oh no, ain't nothing wrong with that at all. So hey, Bobby, whenever you decide to retire, if you do, he needs to do a Legends series on Elon Werner.
No,
surviving John Force.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. I get a lot of that. But really, it's surviving everybody. I survived the Motorplex for 10 years. There's a wealth of stories from that. And I'll be honest, the Force is crazy, but those Coletta guys, they're not a cakewalk either. They're a lot of fun, but they take their racing pretty serious. And I cuss every now and then. I'll come bebopping in there, and Sean Langdon does not want to talk about anything because he did not have a good day. J.R. Todd, that's what I love about them is there's no BS with those guys, and that's why I'm excited about this coming year because I think they're going to do some really good things. They got some really good things coming down the pipe on the sponsor side, on the personnel side, just on the performance side with the new Supra. I think they could have a really huge year just across the board for those guys.
We all in drag racing want to see Doug Coletta perform well.
I know, and he's another one of those guys that he's so good and such a good guy and such a good driver that, to me, when he wins his Top Fuel Championship, I'm not going to say if, when he wins, it will be like when Earnhardt finally won the Daytona 500.
Oh, yeah.
That people will line the walls and it'll be the most epic. There will not be anyone that will begrudge him. There'll be universal, the year he lost the championship to Steve Torrance by 3 points, and his standing ovation as the number 2 driver at the banquet was by far one of the loudest standing ovations the whole night. I think it's a testament to how much people are pulling for Doug.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a great moment. Yeah.
And then when he just goes batshit crazy and just won't start talking a mile a minute, he won't even be a whole new Doug Coletta.
Yeah, it will be. We've never seen that. Yeah.
The Doug Coletta, Top Fuel World Champion, could be a completely different version of Doug Coletta that we know right now.
It could be. I can't wait for that version. That's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good day.
Awesome.
Maybe it's going to be 2022. You never know.
So awesome. All right, I've wasted enough of y'all's time. You guys have been going for almost 2.5 hours.
Yes, we're marathoning it tonight. Hey, congratulations to Bobby on completing his 5K. That's a cool deal.
Yes, that's phenomenal. I see his.
I still don't know why he did that. So much running.
And then I fully expect to see like a Schwinn banana seat bike beside him, and I'm like, oh no, he's actually just running. Can't you picture Bobby on a Schwinn banana seat bike with a big flag on the back of it, just tooling around Spartansburg?
Yes, I can.
Now, For sure, he's got a basket on the front of it. But does he have the horn and the streamers on the handlebar, or just one?
Oh, both.
Yeah,
both. If I'm picturing it the way I am right now, I see both.
And dare I say the streamers are rainbow?
That are in his cutoffs that are probably a little bit too worn, maybe a little bit too short, and his, Scotty Cannon Pro Mod T-shirt that's just got SpaghettiOs dripping down the front of it. I mean,
gosh, oh my goodness,
paint the picture,
man.
Paint,
man. Bobby, don't listen this far. Oh, you already did.
Uh-oh, hang on. Dang it.
Elon, look,
if someone out there is an artist and can draw that picture, I need a copy.
Yes, we need Rat Fink style Bobby on a bicycle, just like that. Yes.
Yeah, I will say that one of the funniest pictures that I've seen in recent years is someone took a picture of Del Worsham at Vegas, and he was popping a wheelie on his bike, and he was walking his dog. And they did the deal of, you may think you're cool, but you'll never be Del Worsham popping a wheelie, walking your dog cool. And that bike he has at the pits, that's his bike he had as a little kid. That's what I always think about. That's his first bike.
I know that. That's
cool.
cool.
So that bike you see him tooling around on,
not
the electric one, but the other one. That's like his original kid bike.
That's cool. That's cool.
But but he can still pop a wheelie. I'll put his wheelie skills up against anybody's, except Evel Knievel. But he's phenomenal. All right. Enough
Elon,
nonsense.
Man, look, thank you for coming on. Thank you for rambling. Thank you for giving us some perspective. Sure. And thank you for what you're doing for the sport of drag racing, man. For sure. Now, will I see either one of you guys at testing or Winter Nationals or both? As of right now, I think I will be. I don't know. It's everything's such an air. Hey, we're all day to day. Let's be honest. We're day. Like the great Dan Patrick used to say on Sports Center, we're all day to day. Day. Good. All right, fellas. You guys have a great evening, and thank you so much. Thank you, Elon. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Okay. Elon Werner. Man. PR great. Great. I'm gonna say this, Lee. I'm gonna put him up there in the GOAT. As Shannon Sharp would say, go James. Go Warner. Here he goes, basking all his glory. But Lee, man, we're kicking off the first episode of the year with almost a 2-hour and 30-minute interview, a show. Thank you guys to all you guys out there that watch, that participate, that comment, that give your opinion. I mean, we truly appreciate it. Lee and I have been on this journey for, it says 59 episodes, but I think it's a little bit more. But we're going to continue to do it. Destroyer 1320, what's up, man? Late is always better. I don't know. I'm going to be quiet. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. Yeah, you don't. You don't. He showed up to the party. Late, but he's here. Right. But Lee, man, Competition Plus, Bobby Bennett, Slam and Sam. Didn't have Jeffer in on this time, but that was okay. But Lee, I'm Slam and Sam, Outlaw Performance ENT. In the Groove podcast is where you can find me on all your social media platforms. Other than that, you can find me at Slam and Sam or Outlaw Performance ENT. In the Groove podcast. Lee, it's been a good time. It's been a fun time. But, brother, I'm going to let you sign us out tonight. So, farewell, Sam. Farewell, man. Have a good night. And to all you out there, on behalf of Slam and Sam, I'm the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. And this has been the Competition Plus Power Hour. A little extra than an hour, as usual. Ran a little long, but it's been a good show. Thank you to Dennis, Tommy, and Elon for coming on. We look forward to next week and whoever we'll have from the world in drag racing. You can follow me at Monday Morning Racer on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And be sure to watch my live show, Between the Slicks, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday nights. I have no clue who I've got this Thursday. We'll see. Hope to see you at the track, and make sure you get the power right here on Competition Plus.